Oops.
Man, yeah. Yeah, Daniel definitely got himself into a contract, I think, with that one.
Yeah,
Um,
man.
he definitely did some good stuff with that. I mean, but Lou did get what he wanted, so I'm
Yeah.
happy that he got what he wanted. He can wear that shit proudly, loudly, and proudly. You know,
And now he gets the Eagles.
I take it. I take it.
Oh,
You know
hold
what?
on. Okay, we're gonna get into that one.
We'll get there. We'll get there, I guess.
Good
Hey,
morning, good afternoon, good day to all. Welcome to another edition of Homie Picks. Divisional round. It's the fun time of the season. This is right before we get to the conference finals, start conference championships. You know, you start getting the field gets more narrow. Uh, the loudly and proudly Giant fan over here, Lou,
Where?
and the lowly and slowly Colt fan, Ben, and the badly and downly Raven fan and me. We all here back again. Um, it was a great wild card weekend for some, not for all. Um, I'm going to take a respectable bow and say my team battled until that fumble. With Tyler Huntley at helm, we held it close, and then we fumbled on the 2 yard line and ran it back for 98 yards. So I mean, congrats
that
to the
was
Bengals. Ben's divisional rival Jacksonville came back from 27 down. Um, you would have thought. I mean, you would have thought Matt Ryan was that quarterback. The way that happened, hey, see that shit since the Super Bowl. And then an honorable clap to the New York Giants. Lou got what he wanted. He wanted Minnesota. It's actually on. It's actually on camera from when we had Vikings and Giants before, and he said he wants to see them in the playoffs. And then it happened, and then he got the result that he wanted. So a big clap to that. Lou, congrats to your team going into the next round. We'll talk about who they face next. Um, but right after that, that's going to be right after we talk about those Jacksonville Jaguars going against Kansas City in Arrowhead, the number one team, well, number one seed, and the playoffs. Do the Chiefs have what it takes to slow down the comeback kids, Trevor Lawrence and company? That's the
that's
that's
the
the
million
question
dollar
of the night.
question.
That's the question of the night. Being that that's your division, um, essentially, Lou, I'm gonna start with you. Uh,
Yeah, I'm gonna say this is where the Jaguars run out of steam. The Chargers showed all year that they can't. They had tendencies not to score points. They showed it all year long, and for them just to fire the offensive coordinator, I think Staley had to go. Like he coached a horrible second half there. They just put their guard down and did took the foot off the gas. So with that being said, I don't think Andy Reid makes those same mistakes that Brian Staley made. I think they're not going to stop scoring. That's just the way Kansas City operates. They don't take their foot off the gas ever, and they're rested. They well rested team going into this against a team that they didn't think they had to play. I mean, they were lining up to play. Justin Herbert and the Chargers. I think that's what they were expecting. So for me, I think this is whatever the line is. KC's going to cover this line. Um, they're just a juggernaut. They've been here before. Pat Mahomes doesn't break under pressure. I don't think he's going to have much pressure. I mean, the Jaguars have an okay defense, but Mahomes will pick you apart. So I don't think the Jaguars have faced a quarterback like this, and this is their first time in the playoffs. I mean, they got one stunning win, but I think this is where their magic trip ends.
um, at least they gotta win before the Cowboys gotta win. On a technical standpoint, at least they did get a win before the Cowboys got a win in the playoffs. Albeit by 2 days, but hey, they did it. Yeah, this is gonna be tough, man. Like, you know, I think as of last week, this may be the playoff where old records may come to die. Brady never lost against the Cowboys. He lost against the Cowboys. To this day, Trevor Lawrence has never lost a Saturday game.
Yep.
Never lost a Saturday game. And what did the NFL do to repay that favor of him never losing a Saturday game? Give him the first Saturday game of the weekend against the Kansas City Chiefs. That's a national championship. That is a Super Bowl right there. That is your Super Bowl if you're Trevor Lawrence. I like the Jags. I just don't like them that much against Kansas City.
They cute.
I want to pick them. I really want to pick Jacksonville, but while that was as great as a comeback win from an inexperienced team as it was in the playoffs, to not give up and I was saying last week how they fight hard. They don't really give up. The same time, Kansas City, like you said, just does not stop scoring. I don't really care for Kansas City's defense all too much myself. They did get better as the year did wind down, but I remember Kansas City being down big against teams and having to come back because hell, the Raiders were scoring against them. The Raiders were trash. I remember that for a Monday night game. I remember Kansas City being down a few times and having to fight back into that. Like I don't know, they just started clicking on all cylinders. I can hope for Kansas City to have a slow start, to be down enough, but then I gotta hope Jacksonville keeps scoring at that point too. And I don't know if they have what it takes to keep scoring in that kind of high pressure situation on the road. At least that game they were at home, but on the road, in a very cold Arrowhead Stadium where not that many people have success at. As it's currently set, it's 8.5. I'm gonna say Jacksonville keeps it for the touchdown. I'm gonna still say they lose, but I'm gonna say they keep it for the touchdown. So yeah, KC, but by a touchdown. Ben,
Yeah.
can you give your division some hope?
I mean, they showed that the division is not complete trash. Because everybody's like, oh, AFC South sucks, nobody can win there. But they have their moments.
And Jacksonville is 1-0 against the AFC West right now. They can damn it be 2-0 right now. Come on, Jacksonville.
See, I just like you, I really like Jacksonville here. What they've been doing up to this point, like, yeah, you're right. Their defense is not the greatest, but they can't generate a good enough pass rush that can disrupt the pass for a little bit. My concern with the Chiefs is that sometimes they play down to their competition. So if they play down to their competition and they take the Jags a little bit for granted, I think they can sneak up on them. However, KC is one of the best teams trailing. They always find a way to come back and win. I can't go against Patrick Mahomes and Andy in this game. I know Doug Peterson is also a good coach. That's why I preferred that coach over Staley. But in this case, you have Reed, you have Mahomes. They have pretty good weapons. You have Kelsey on the other side. Jags just don't have enough firepower, I believe, to keep up with them. I think it's going to be a tough game, though. Don't get me wrong. Much like you, if I'm betting this, I would take the points. I'll take the Jags. But if you're going straight money line, yeah, the Chiefs. I believe the Chiefs win it, even if it's close. You just can't count them out of a game. If it's close, they have a shot. So and they're playing Arrowhead. Jacksonville. They have that special quality in Duval, and people just fall apart there for some reason. But if that's not the case this time around, it's in KC. Yeah, I have to pick KC here. I think they win. It was a good run for them. I mean, they're ahead of schedule. I mean, they weren't supposed to be here yet. So, props to Jacksonville. But yeah, I have to lean KC here. But myself, I'll probably bet the points, take Jags.
Yeah. Good luck, Jacksonville. That's all I can say. Good luck, Trevor. Good luck, all of them out there. Going to the highlight Saturday night. We got the hoodie that is being shown versus the Philadelphia Freeway Eagles. Saturday night in Philadelphia. Always hostile territory, no matter what day of the week it is.
Twice on Sunday.
Twice on Sunday. But on a Saturday night, you got a bunch of liquored up Eagles fans. Oh shit. They ain't gotta. I mean, they can go. I mean, they can go stumble into mass or whatever prayer worship that they do on Sunday, all messed up all they want. They gonna be liquored up come Saturday night. That's your division, Lou. So we're gonna talk. You're gonna talk to you last on this one. Ben, do you see the Giants tackling another team down? That's two top teams. The 1 and the 2. Well, the 1 and the 3. Do you see them? Do you see them doing it?
This one's tough. This one's tough for me. I know Philly's the favorite right now. What is 7.5? But I just don't know where Jalen Hurts is. How his shoulder is, like health wise. We haven't seen him really play, so it's difficult for me to pick them. At the same time, I know what they're capable of, and granted, Giants are having a good run. Danny Dimes is playing, up to that first round pick selection. But I just on this one, I think I'm gonna have to lean towards the Eagles on this one. Just slight edge, playing at home. The biggest X factor to me is going to be what Hurts comes out looking like, but they have good weapons, have AJ, they have Smith. So I think they can challenge the Giants, even if their quarterback play isn't the greatest, but it's going to be a tough game. Again, this one would be something that if I'm betting this game, I would take the Giants points just because I think it's going to come down to a field goal. I don't think it's going to be a blowout by any means. And I would not be shocked if the Giants win, to be quite honest. But for now, I'll take the Eagles.
Yeah, this is going to be another good one. Now, if my memory serves me correctly, last time me and you picked the same team, Ben, and Lou took his Giants won. If memory serves me correctly. Now, I will say this. Dane Downs definitely showed up and showed out. It must be the Giant way. Clearly, you can be mediocre or average in the regular season, but when the lights shine bright, they start to ball out a little bit. That's what happened with Eli. I've never really will ever be high. I like Eli more as a talking personality than he ever was as a player, but I always thought he was like mediocre for the most part, and he had some good runs, but give credit where credit is due. Danny Dimes held it down. The team is doing what they need to do. Kenny Galladay is still 75 yards away, 75 catches, receptions away from his damn contract. But all that being said, the Eagles, I think, are probably of the 2 number 1 seeds. I think Philadelphia is the most vulnerable. I'm not gonna bet. If you tell me if I got to bet on the health of I was just talking about the two #1 teams, Pat Mahomes or Jalen Hurts or Gardner Minshew. Really? Like, if I got to choose between those two, I'm clearly going to lean on the side of Kansas City. I don't know what you're going to get. I don't know if you're going to get Jalen. I don't know if you're going to get Gardner. Either way, I still think the Giants have a really good chance at it. When they need to make stops, they need to make stops. Now, granted, this is not prime time Kirk Cousins they're going against, so this is they have more adequate.
Yeah.
Well,
I think
more,
the defense is better for
and
sure.
it's a better defense. That is true. It's funny because even Gardner Minshew last year was a Jacksonville Jaguar. So no matter what, you still get a playoff. You still get a Jaguar in this damn game somewhere. But it's all the signs saying go for the Jaguars, I swear. But I digress. Yeah, I think Philadelphia at home is a really good test. But honestly, I would love to see nothing more than see Eagle fans cry. So I'm gonna go Giants. Lou, what say you?
Two keys to this game is one, Danny Dimes playing within himself the same way he did against Minnesota. Don't turn over the ball, make your smart checkdowns, run the ball when you can. I think he dominated that first quarter running the ball and finding wide open wide receivers, which is not going to happen against the Eagles. They play a much different scheme, and they're just built differently. Second part of that is containing Jalen Hurts. I'd rather have Jalen Hurts try to beat me with his legs than beat me with his arm at this point. So you got to keep the pressure constant. You got to keep throwing disguises on him. I love how Wink Martindale went to 6 DBs on third down against Minnesota, had 2 over the top shadowing Justin Jefferson. It was amazing to watch. And then putting McKinney, our best defender, on their secondary receiver. I think we need to take that same approach when it comes to A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Put McKinney on Smith, put 2 over the top on A.J. Brown. And then hopefully our linebackers can keep an spy on Jalen Hurts the whole game. And the biggest X factor is going to be his health. If Jalen Hurts takes a hit and he hurts that shoulder again, it's a completely different ball game because we've seen the last month of football from the Eagles look mediocre and pedestrian because they lost to the Commanders. They almost lost to our B squad the last week of the season to get that first round bye. So I think that was a good snapshot of what the Eagles will bring to the table come Saturday night. I'm rooting for my Giants. I think it's going to be a hard-fought game. I don't expect us to get blown out in this game. Do we have a shot? Absolutely. I'm going to ride my Giants because I can't pick them otherwise. But it's been a hell of a season for them. Danny Dimes has played his way to a contract. And I think at the beginning of the season when Brian Daboll was in practice with him and designed plays where he can fail and where Tyrod Taylor could succeed to see how Danny Dimes would handle it, proved he's the right guy for this to lead this team. He handled it with poise and didn't cry, didn't moan, went out there and balled out. So I think it's gonna be less than 7 points. I don't like that 7.5. I think that's just the #1 seed and their home kind of thing. I'm riding with the Giants on this. This is gonna be a hard fought game. Probably gonna be like a 3-point game though, when everything's said and done.
Yeah, I can see that. Field goal wins it. Just so long as your kicker's not Brett Mayer, they can be all right.
That was wild.
I know that was an unnecessary shot. Before we get into our Sunday's games, I want to remind everybody, FanDuel Sportsbook. Click the free promo link below, to the side, to the right, up, down, left, right, XXBB. All those good finishers. You get yourself a free FanDuel Sportsbook bet.
Just this then before we get to that Cowboys game, Mattress Mac just dropped $2 million on the Cowboys money line this weekend.
So basically all the money that he won with the Astros, he's trying to lose it all because he lost.
He lost a big chunk already.
Against he bet on TCU.
Yeah, he's like 16. 16.
Yeah, he lost a lot for that shit.
Yeah, 16.
He just put
on
the Cowboys money line.
And now he's putting all that money on
Hey, he's an old man. He like, fuck it. I can't take it with me.
At this point, this man could build up a community.
For real.
He can go
Build
to
some
philanthropy route.
on. Get back to education. Like, do something with it.
He can do a lot. I mean,
None of them
he can repair. He can bring back the jobs that everybody complains about they're losing. He can do anything with those things. But fuck it.
He's like, let it burn.
Well, my money burn. I don't care. It's funny, talking about bets like that before we get into our Sunday games, because we kind of know how this is gonna. It's gonna be fun for that first one. The second week, I think we kind of all have an idea how that one's gonna go. But did you see that bet? How dude? Well, he was. It was. This is when like the Jaguars, like when the Chargers were up big.
Oh yeah. Dude bet like a mil.
He bet 1.4 million.
1.4 million
1.4 million
on the Chargers.
And he only would have got $11,200 and lost.
Bro, I saw that slip too. I was like, what were you thinking? Like, first off, you're not making money there. Like,
oh
my God, that was ridiculous bet.
I mean, look, everybody's and the people in the comments will always say, "Oh, but it was only 11,000." I'm like, look, that's 11,000 more than I did have before. Like, it sounded like a good bet. I probably would have had a good short. I would have thrown a short bet too at that point.
Yeah, because it was like negative, like 500 or some crap at that point.
Like 5,000 inside that.
It was ridiculous.
It was big odds. Negative odds.
Yeah.
But if you had 1.4 million and you clearly were not, you had nothing to fear at that point too. So, I mean, I myself can't see myself betting 1.4 million. I'm that person. I will bet $5, and if I get like $300 after that, I'm ready to cash out. So, like, I'm being very conservative. I'm as conservative as Todd Bowles is. Play calling is as conservative as I am betting. All right, I'm not doing big bets like that. That's funny. I think next season we can have a whole segment on bad beats of bets. There's a lot of those shits every week.
Thinking, what were you thinking?
What were they thinking?
That or those horrible ones that you lose. Like I lost one last night. I think it was a basketball game. I forget who I bet it. Bro, he was 1 point away, and he had a freaking quarter and a half to get that point, and it didn't happen.
Never got it.
I was like, no. I was like, oh shit, it's about to hit. I'm like, I'm gonna go to sleep, wake up to some money. I look at him like, what? This man couldn't get one bucket.
One bucket.
One bucket, like, nah, he ain't care about none of that. He literally was like, he pulled, what? I learned from betting on Kevin Durant when it comes to parlays, because Kevin don't give a shit about them parlays. He even tweets, "Oh yeah, I should." Like, he'll even tweet about those parlay bets. So look, he do probably do his numbers like, I don't need that number. I'm gonna let some folk eat that one.
It's crazy.
It's sad. It's truly sad.
Those are the ones that hurt, man. And yeah, and that's why people believe these conspiracies. It has to be, man.
Look, I mean, I have to imagine most of these players know their lines, and some want to make people money, and some were like, want to get everybody.
I think they don't give a rip at all. Like, it's just whatever they want to do.
That's all they care about. They care about.
We're up by 10. All right, I'll sit the rest of the fourth.
Word. Like that'll be some real blatant stuff. Like they see the number, like, oh, I got 20 something right now. All right, take me out, coach. Like, what?
Right. What? They felt a little awkwardly. I don't know. I think I bruised my knee. I'm out the game. I'm out the game. I won't come back tonight.
Probably ready to throw a bottle cap at somebody. Maybe that's why they took bottle caps at Barclays Center from Waters. Maybe that's why I'd be ready to throw a bottle cap if that happened. I think that'd be a good segment for next season.
How about if the listeners have a suggestion for something they would like to see? Put it in the comments.
Yeah,
what about it?
We really didn't do the polls. We could do the polls next season. Mind you, everybody watching this stuff, we're giving you the ideas that if you have suggestions for the show, by all means, I mean, we do see the comments. Shout out to Paul's Uncle Pete. He's a heavy commenter. Avid watcher. We appreciate it. But and Danny, Train Man, Vikings fan.
Hi, Danny.
Like we watch the comments, we see it. So like I said, if y'all have a comment, y'all have suggestions too. We're throwing out a little whiteboard, meeting right now. But I guess we should get back to the show, right?
Right. Let's give them what they want.
That's why they watch us. They don't really care about our ideas. They care about
They just want to make that money. I mean, see how that money's made.
I guess. Going into Sunday. Sunday's the fun day. I'm gonna have to sit out last on this one. The division champion Cincinnati Bengals against the division champion Buffalo Bills. This is a rematch from week 17. Glad that DeMar Hamlin is resting and he is well. He is things are a lot less scary than they were a few weeks ago to end the year. But this game was going to be played eventually. Whether it been played in the divisional round or the conference championship round, because I think even if Kansas City drew a bad bet and had to face Cincy or Buffalo, I think either one of them, it wouldn't have mattered. I think they would have beat them. But I guess I'm kind of getting my hand away from that for the conference championship. But yeah, Cincinnati, Buffalo. How do you see this one going down, Lou?
Man, this is a tough one for me. Like, I love Buffalo. I love what they've done, but they don't put fear in anyone's heart. They don't scare anybody. And I don't think there's a better receiving trio in the NFL outside of Cincinnati. I mean, any one of those boys can go off anytime. Some games we've seen where multiple wide receivers have gone off for like 30 plus fantasy points on that team. So with that said, I'm gonna rock with Cincinnati on this one because I just think Joe Burrow is that dude. He's getting protection. He's not getting hit. And he's been smart this year about getting hit. You see him get hit in ways that don't affect his body. He's getting hit where he's leaning away, leaning in, protecting himself, or just getting down low enough so it's not impacting him. And the offensive line has been tremendously better than they were last year when he got sacked, I think, for like 3 million times in the season. And I honestly don't like Darvin Ham was like the leading tackler for Buffalo, and he didn't even start the year. He came in like in game 4, game 5. So I think the loss of Von Miller is hurting them more than anyone expected, especially going down to the stretch. And we got cheated out of that game on that Monday night. I mean, for good reasons. He's doing well. That was probably the best Monday night game of the year on the slate. We all talked about how that's going to be the hottest game of the year. So I'm going to rock with Cincy on the sheer fact that, one, that defense is playing at an all-time high right now, and I don't think there's any way you can stop that trio of wide receivers. You just don't have enough people on the field unless you're going to pay 12 men on the field every down at this point. But I'm going to rock with Cincy. It's going to be a close game, and I just think Joe Burrow's that guy.
Ben?
Yeah, I'm with Lou here. I would take the Bengals money line on this one. They're the underdogs right now, which is a plus 198. The Bengals are just playing better, I feel, than Buffalo. Look, I thought Buffalo was gonna make it to the end in the finals, and thought Josh Allen would have an MVP type year, but he's actually regressed a lot. He's leads the league in interceptions. So it's like it's hit or miss. sometimes he starts off hot, he gets cold and just starts throwing it to the wrong people. Cincy's defense is legit, even though they don't have like a huge brand name on that staff, but those boys play. And yeah, like Burrow's just he's good. Like in these types of situations, he steps up to these big games. I don't see them losing this one. I wouldn't be surprised if if you know they beat them by a touchdown, 10 points or so. I just Buffalo, you just don't know what you're gonna get. That's the problem. Right now, they're that roller coaster ride. You know, when their highs are high and they look like wow, unstoppable. But when they start messing up, they just cave. And yeah, I just feel Cincinnati's a little bit more poised, a little more consistent right now. Um, how hopefully the Bengals O line gets a little bit healthier. I know they're a little banged up. You know, Buffalo does still have a good defense, but yeah, I see this going to Cincy. I honestly don't see the Buffalo Bills winning this one, just because I think Josh Allen's gonna make that one interception that's gonna cost them.
Who would have thought teams going against a Tyler Huntley or a Skylar Thompson would actually be struggling? Because Cincinnati, I thought would have straight like those Tennessee cops. I thought they would have ran a train on Baltimore. Same with Buffalo. I thought they'd have did the same thing against Miami. One thing we learned in the playoffs, anything can happen. Any team that happens to have Tyreek Hill on roster, clearly, clearly it doesn't matter the quarterback. If you have Tyreek Hill or a Jalen Waddle on the team, you can do things because I never saw Miami. I never saw Skylar Thompson, of all people, like putting up 30 on them like that.
That's really on Buffalo, man. They let that.
That's but here's what's funny with all of that. Of the wide receiver duo duo or trio, but let's just say duo for to make it short. Cincinnati or Buffalo, who had 100-yard games? Was it Cincinnati or was it Buffalo?
100-yard what?
100-yard rush receiving yard games. Was it Buffalo's duo or was it or duo/trio or was it Cincinnati's duo?
I'm gonna say Cincy's.
Buffalo. Buffalo. Cincinnati's duo did not have 100-yard games. Both of them. But Gabriel, but Gabriel and Diggs, they both had 114, 113.
Wasn't it Tyler or but it was Boyd and Jamar Chase that went off?
They had 90 at best. Surprise! I know. Who would have thought as bad as a game as Josh Allen had?
Well, that's the thing. Like, I'm not shocked by it because the thing is that why Allen has so much problems is because he takes big shots. He's a big shot QB, and when you take those big shots, is that you get a lot of yards. And in his case, sometimes he just throws that pick.
Yeah, Jamar Chase had 84 yards that game. The next best was 45 with Hayden Hurst. Yeah, it was wild. I'm like, wait, hold on. Stephon Diggs had 114, and Gabriel had 113. That's kind of crazy. But at the same time, we did see Josh Allen throw some senseless ass interceptions. One of them was botched off the chest. So I wish that they would change that rule to interceptions to be like
that one's on the player.
If the interception bounce off the player, it goes to that player, not so much to that quarterback, because I think there's a lot of stats that go on somebody that may not be actually directly affected from that person. But like, because I think that's like a hockey assist interception essentially. But can Buffalo, even with as bad as they can be, as bad as they can be, can they still get yards? Can he still go down the field on you? Absolutely. Josh Allen can go off, and I think this is what they both wanted. I think they both wanted to play each other eventually. It's kind of like Rocky and Creed, at the end, a Rocky 2. Or it was a Rocky 2, yeah, Rocky 2, where like you saw like the fist hit, but you don't really know who like
what happened.
who really won. And that's essentially what happened. Everybody was hitting, and then you really don't know really who won. Again, I'm glad that they did stop the game, but I'm glad for a restart of the game to be in this kind of situation, in a high pressure situation. I pray for everybody's health and safety in this game. With that being said, division winner Bengals. I do see y'all being the next selection for KC or Jacksonville. I have to be fair, but I do see it being a repeat of KC and Cincinnati, and that would be on neutral field, would it not? Or would it be?
No,
be in KC. It would be in KC. If it was Buffalo, then it would be neutral. So,
yep.
Yeah. Let's go Cincinnati. Like that's what I see happening. I think, hell, if anything, we may have both New York teams, or we may have no New York teams by the end of this weekend. But going to the last one, the Sunday night game, which essentially is a Sunday afternoon, since you're going to be in San Fran. A 3 o'clock start there, but it's 3:30, 6:30 start for us out here on the east side. The somehow, some way Dallas Cowboys. Yes, we're still talking about them. 2 weeks into the playoffs, we are still talking about the Cowboys. How about them Cowboys going against San Fran? This is like a rematch of like the 90s, man. We used to have Cowboys and Niners back in it seemed like every playoffs it was Cowboys and Niners. Well, at least during the 90s that and that time. And
hey, but this is no Young and this is no Troy Aikman.
It's no Troy Aikman, it's no Steve Young. Shoot, we can go back further. Ain't no Joe Montana.
Right.
Like there's no Michael Irvin, there's no Emmitt Smith, there's no Jerry Rice, no Terrell Owens on either side of the field. We can go back, but but this one, at least, of all the point spreads, it's the lowest one, 3.5. So Niners are a favorite at home. I think people are finally giving Brock Purdy some respect, because I know there was a time when he was like a little bit of a favorite. Now, well, even the underdog, and they're still as good as Niners were. But Dallas could probably do it, but maybe they don't do it. I'm gonna save Lou for last on this one, since he is a Giant fan. I want him to savor his moments and thoughts against Dallas. Ben, how do you see this one going down, bro?
I say the Cowboys win.
Hey.
I just want to get fired here, right?
You got to get.
Nah.
I would say if you said that off that and left it at that, you probably had to pack up your only picks polos, send it back.
Send that back.
Yeah. This one, it was a nice Cowboys win. Unexpected. They actually showed up. The Tampa Bay was not a good team from get-go, but I was counting on a good Tom Brady performance, which just didn't happen. And then on top of that, you had Todd Bowles' extra conservative play calling. So, yeah, Cowboys, nice win. It was good. Dak played great. You can't take that away from him. He did it. He did a good job. He did what he had to do. But now he's playing a really legit number one defense. Their O-line is a little bit of a patchwork for the Cowboys that's been getting better as the season ended, but right now with the 49ers pass rush, I just don't think they're gonna be able to keep Dak upright much. I think the pressure's gonna come, they're gonna hit him, pressure him a lot. I just don't see them getting off like they did. against the 49ers defense, and that's really what's going to keep them in it's going to I think the defense is essentially going to win this game. I can see the 49ers getting a pick six, and that's the determining factor. Purdy, there, it's hard to judge Purdy just because it's not that much tape on him yet. You know, he's played only a handful of games, so we don't know exactly what he's gonna be. But at this point in time, he's playing great. You can't take that away from him. He's making really, really good decisions. I like how he goes through his progressions. He goes, he reads them very well. He fits in this system nicely with Shanahan. Like, he just knows how to use them. I just see the 49ers winning this game. I don't know how tough the game is gonna be, to be quite honest, because you never know when the 49ers offense just explodes, because they just have so many weapons on both sides of the ball. I say it was a good win. Cowboys got a playoff win after, I don't know what was last, 1992, 93. That was the last time they won one. So hats off to you. You got a playoff win this decade. But yeah, I think that's it. I think this is a Niners wants to lose. Like, really, the Niners have to lose this game. Personally, I just don't see Dallas winning.
Yeah, I would be one to say that I did not see that coming. If anybody remember in the preview show, I said Dallas would be the division winners. But I definitely didn't see them winning a game, even if they were division winners. In the playoffs, I thought they would have did what Dallas does best. Get you hype. Well, get the Cowboys fans excited, get them hype. They didn't blow it. I thought that would have happened. It is against a shaky Tampa team. We talked about shaky teams before. Even in this episode, we talked about teams that were shaky coming into the playoffs, and Philadelphia, for one, being shaky, and coming into this. And Tampa was no better. Yeah. Like, there were a lot of, you were an 8-win team. Like, let's remember that. They were an 8-win team that was hosting a 10. Cowboys had 12 wins?
12 wins, 11 wins, I don't know, but all I know is that the NFC South was giving the AFC South a run for its money there, because how bad they were too.
It was an 8-win team hosting a 12-win team. And granted, you can't do much about that because the division winners need to host games. I respect that. But Tampa was hobbling into the playoffs as it was. They were very fortunate that their competition was Atlanta, Carolina, and New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only reason why they even got in.
Yeah.
And even that last game against Atlanta,
right? It was hard.
So the writing was on the wall about how bad Tampa was. We just all betted on Tom Brady, prime time.
Right,
prime time game, where
and Dallas doing what Dallas does best,
and Dallas doing what they do best in the playoffs. Bright lights, they get really butterfingery with the ball. But I had to say all of that to fill some time, because honestly, it's I really don't see it being that much after that. San Francisco is a way better defense than Tampa will ever be at this point. And it's funny because I would have loved for Tampa for the storylines, because I know Paul is a big 49er fan, but he's also a big storylines person too. And I think it would have been great to see Tampa and San Fran granted, that would not have happened, but it would have been great to see San Fran and Tampa, because then you would have had the other Mr. Irrelevant go against the new Mr. Irrelevant, who is on this magical run, took over for, it would have been Brady passing Bledsoe the handoff or the baton to Purdy, who took over for not just Trey Lance, but for Jimmy Garoppolo, who passed over two people and so forth. And now Tom Brady had to walk so Brock Purdy can run. I would have loved to see that handoff, but we didn't get that. Instead, Brock Purdy has to now beat the team that took out that storyline. And I see that happen. for all the tip that is there on Brock Purdy, he's doing what he's doing. And I'm very glad. I mean, as much as I know Paul talks about, how maybe to not have, like mad at the Giants, for not beating, for not playing everybody to beat Philadelphia and all that. Look, honest to God, I think the best thing for the Niners was not getting number one, because the one thing that you do not want to do in my eyes is give a young quarterback who has zero experience in the playoffs a week off.
Right.
He ain't gonna know what to do with that. Like, let him get that playoff run now, so that way you build on that shit for next week when you made it to next week. Like, if games were called in the first half, then Brock Purdy he finally would have had his first loss, because Seattle was up 17-16. Second half, completely different game, and they went off on them. And I think that's what comes when you have a young quarterback in the playoffs for the first time, pressure situation like this. Not regular season, is one and done. He got a taste of what it could be, and then he got better after that. The team got better after that. I think that's why you want to have a young quarterback not get a bye week, because you don't have that time to adjust. Now you have that stuff that's in you to make you understand, all right, this is what I gotta do better. I can't do what I did, before. There's no next week, and now you capitalize on that, you build on that for this week. And I think that's the great thing about having that week against Seattle. Whether you can talk about Seattle's defense or not, doesn't matter. They had a playoff type, it was a playoff game. Mm-hmm. So now you have that experience. Now you build onto that. So I think Brock's going to get on from that. San Francisco is just a juggernaut. If honest to God, if they are not in the conference, if they're not in the conference finals, or if not in the Super Bowl, I would consider that a bust. Now, you can say it's a good season, it's a great season. It's been a great season from what they all overcame. 2 quarterbacks being hurt, Debo out, defense in and out. There was a lot of things, a lot of setbacks that they had. So it was a great season overall, but they're the heavy favorites.
Yeah.
To make it to the end, more than the Eagles are. So I think this is why I didn't really want to see them as number 1 seed, because you got to give this young guy as much rep and as much time in there as you can. And then honestly, if that happens, that's the scarier they're going to be after that. So I think 3 points is being very generous and very nice, but I'm not just taking the 49ers to win. I'm taking 49ers on that points too. That's laughable, 3.5. I think by the time it's over, it may be one of those 14 games going to halftime, and then you're going to see 40 out of nowhere come from San Francisco. So that's why I think San Fran. Lou.
Well, I'm going to disagree with you guys. Hell no, I can't disagree with you guys. This will be laughable. Nothing brings me more joy than seeing the Cowboys. I mean, the Cowboys fans were running rampant. Like, we beat Brady. I'm like, but did you really beat Brady? Like,
you beat Thomas Brady, not Tom Brady.
Like, that was Bartholomew Brady or something. Like, so for me, I mean, San Fran is, like you said, the juggernaut of the NFC East, of the NFC, excuse me. I think they can score at all 3 levels, over the top, mid-range, and running the ball. So that's tough to beat. They have so many weapons on that team. And I watched that game that they played, and Brock Purdy has a cannon of an arm, man. Like, he buys his time, and he sits and he waits, because he knows he could sling the hell out of that ball. He reminds me of Josh Allen with the arm strength, but with the leg speed of Kyler Murray to just do what he wants to do on that field. And that's the perfect player that San Francisco was trying to build. They built a running offense for Trey Lance in the beginning of the season, where they wanted him flushed out of the pocket, making moves, and then they built a pocket offense when Garoppolo came in. Now you can combine those 2 offenses together, and it's just straight magic. then when you add CMC to it, like, yeah, that shout out to the Niners because they pushed all the right buttons this season. They lost that first game where Brock Purdy came in, but they've been off to the races since, and I don't see them slowing down. I think the biggest X factor in this game is going to be which defensive stud shows up. Bosa versus Parsons. Whoever shows up more, whoever has the biggest stat line, whoever makes the biggest impact on the defense, that team's going to win the game. Hands down. Dallas's defense has been a little shaky lately. I mean, they bounced back against Tampa Bay, but again, they'll paint a weakened team where the offensive line is barbecue chicken 95% of the season. So for me, San Fran, if you let Brock Purdy be Brock Purdy, it's a problem. You're going to have to pick your poison, whether you're going to let Brock Purdy beat you or you're going to let CMC beat you. And that's a tough order to maintain. I want to see where they line up Parsons. If they move around that field, if you put him on that left side against a right side versus San Francisco's left side, he's done. He's not gonna get to the quarterback. Now, if they switch him over to the left side against the right side, he might have a shot. But I'm still rocking with San Fran. Yeah, and like you, I would take these points because it's gonna be more than a 3-point game.
Even with that, you mentioned just Purdy and CMC. We didn't even mention Kittle.
And
Ayuk.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much on that team to worry about.
Niners are stacked. Like,
Yeah,
you can't say they're not.
They got a full do damage. Like, that's crazy to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is their game. This is their game to lose. Like, honestly, like, I really think odds makers are trying to make it sweet, but nah, this is the Niners game to lose. I'm sorry. Like, they are what their jersey is. They're red hot right now.
Yep.
And it's a great time to be that way. We were talking about coaching, the coaching carousel earlier.
Right.
I don't know, man. After a Super Bowl and what has felt like 40 years, but it's only been 15 something years. I'm ready for Harbaugh to go, man.
Really?
I'm ready for Harbaugh to go. I'm ready for him to go. I'm ready for Greg Roman to go. I'm ready for every damn coordinator on our team to go.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this: if they don't get Lamar back, they will go.
Fired Roman today?
Huh?
Roman didn't he get fired today?
I think he's still there.
He's still there.
I think he fired today.
No.
The
only firing I heard was Lefkowitz. That was the only one.
Fucking Harbaugh had a whole good thing.
He resigned 4 hours ago.
Oh, he resigned. Okay.
Oh, see, now that happened when I was asleep. So
he resigned.
Wow. Okay.
Because he realized he was sucked, man. But even with that, like, it's funny because literally around 12 o'clock, I was looking at, Instagram, I follow my team, and Harbaugh was saying all these great things about Roman. And then it's like, I guess that was the kiss of death because then hours later after that, Roman resigned. So
he probably knows they're not getting Lamar back.
Well, I put it this way: if Greg Roman's gone, Greg Roman did a great job of doing what he could with the players he had. The Ravens front office never got Lamar weapons.
Yep.
Like, I'm sorry, like they didn't do for him what they did in San Fran. Yep. They needed running back, they went and got one. They needed receivers, they went out and got them. So this might be in the running role that Lamar might be done.
I'm really. As soon as Ozzie Newsome left the GM thing, the Ravens had not been the same since. Like, this guy was his predecessor and so forth, and we're thinking, he's been there he's been there under his wings. He would know how to do things. This guy ain't shit, man. Like, I really miss Ozzie. I wish he can come back and take back over and get us a team, that's worthy out there like that. But it's like you're treating Lamar like he's expendable commodity. He's a once in a lifetime athlete. Like, you treat him like a once in a lifetime athlete. You get him players around. Yes, I love Mark Andrews, but damn it, he is not enough. Like at least Kittle has other wide receivers around him. Kelsey has other wide receivers around him.
Well, I'm gonna try to be a little fair to the Ravens. They've tried. They just haven't gotten the right players. Like they've drafted a couple of receivers. They just been hurt. They've got running backs. They've been hurt.
Duvernay is cool.
Duvernay Bates is not bad, but he's hurt. Like
Bates is cool.
It's just a lot of hurt. It's a lot of hurt players.
Bateman. You mean Bateman?
Yes, I'm sorry, Bateman. Yes.
Lamar Jackson was throwing to Deshaun Jackson this year. That's how bad it was.
Well, that's how desperate they were for a body that wasn't injured.
Giants receiving core, then Baltimore's receiving core, and Giants ain't got nobody.
Last year, Lamar was throwing to Des Bryant. Remember that?
Yeah. But they tried. Like I said, they tried. They just.
He'll take Kenny Galladay and be happy with it. Yes, please.
He probably would take him.
Galladay might got a 76, but I would say we did try with running backs. J.K. Dobbins. Well, I don't know what happened, but every running back got hurt. Like,
yeah,
you got to look at your training staff, your athletic guys. Like,
they all need to go too.
Yeah. Like 12 guys. Okay, all of them.
Yeah. Like, and then we have an aging one of the best defensive linemen in Calais Campbell. He's hurt, in and out. He's a big man. He's getting older. He's not getting any younger. So, there's a lot that needs to be revamped on that thing. But, coaching in terms of general, I mean, I would not be sad if Harbaugh is gone. Given what we've had, great. He's had enough victories. That's the thing about it. He's had enough wins in his pocket to say, would you really fire me? But at the same time, it hasn't really translated so much. And then they're going to keep going on injuries and yada, yada, yada. And I think you just keep buying time on the same thing. Tomlin has never had a losing season. It doesn't mean that Pittsburgh Steelers have been that good either. Like, it is what it is. McDaniels, the Carr is out in Oakland. He done gave everybody pendants.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, not everybody. He gave Devontae and Max Crosby pendants.
And not even Renfro.
I fuck with you. I don't know who you are. Fuck you.
He gave them $5 coupons to the all-you-eat buffet in Vegas.
My man gave them a buffet ticket to the Caesars and the MGM. Matter of fact, nah, oil strip. You're going to the Rio. Like, he clearly don't mess with all of his teammates. Damn. I mean, he needed to give Devontae Adams a Bentley for the fact that this man said he wanted to go to Vegas because he was there, and then put up that kind of performance. I mean, then again, Devontae may want to give a gift to his new quarterback because at least he fed him the ball. So I mean, who do you see being next on the block to go? I know you were talking about Jeff Saturday, Ben. Like
we were talking earlier. The Colts interviewed him today. They've had a lot of interviews. Some defensive guys, offensive guys. I don't know why they're bothering with defensive guys. To be quite honest, the league has just changed too much to rely on a defensive coach. I feel like if you can get a good defensive coordinator, great. But the head coach can't be geared towards defense because then you end up with like a Todd Bowles kind of coach. Very conservative, and in this type of league, it just doesn't work. But Saturday, for me, it's either he goes back to ESPN or become the offensive line coach. But I wouldn't bring him back as a head coach. You know, he still needs to learn more about it. Like, from my understanding, he was just delegating stuff. He calls himself a CEO kind of coach. So you do that, and I just say, "Oh, good job, you got it." You know, like sometimes that works if you really have really talented coordinators, but that's not always the case. So I don't feel like that's the type of coach we need. To be quite frank, I just wish that Irsay would, stay out of it and let Ballard do what he needs to do, because the minute Irsay got so involved because of that loss in Jacksonville, it just everything went sideways. Because yes, Frank Reich wasn't doing the greatest of jobs, but to let him go in the middle of the season and put this guy that just had no experience, he just made it worse. So, and right now they're kind of free falling. We'll see what happens with them in the draft. Hopefully they give Ballard the power back to make the final decisions. But if Irsay gets involved again, who knows?
McDaniels, I
Yeah,
know.
McDaniel's not going anywhere. He's sticking with his boy Stidham.
Well, they have to, because they're still paying Gruden $10 million for the next millennia. Yeah. So you can't at least have 2-3 years with McDaniels before you can cut that contract loose.
Right. What's funny with McDaniels is, after he got cheating, after he got caught cheating, this team, he as a coach has only won one game. So like has not won that many games after getting caught cheating. Like, so he's not a good quarter. He's not a good coach. He's
so far hasn't shown it.
He's
just not in Denver.
Opportunities.
Yeah, he's got an opportunity because he was just as bad in Denver and he's just as bad now. And he has a hole with the quarterback position because he really thinks Stidham is better than Carr. I think that's a mistake. Unless he's shooting for Tom Brady, hoping for a Hail Mary or something. I don't know what he's thinking, but
that's what a lot of old retired folks do. They go to Vegas, don't they? So
hey, he's got to spend that money, right? There's a slot machine. You're gonna see Tommy in there pumping quarters. That would be funny.
He's gonna be that blue plate special that they got in all those casino buffets.
Bro, that would be funny to see Tom Brady walking through a casino with a fanny pack on.
Looking like the hangover, Alan in the hangover. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a nice little coaching carousel. Chopping block is on for a lot of people. It's always that time where when it's uncertainties. Teams that are not in it, they start to retool. Plan for the next season. D'Amico Ryan's name for the Niners is a name that's being floated out for head coach consideration, which a defensive guy, but still at the same time, I think I can't say not all defensive coaches. Saleh made a great jump, a la Zach Wilson. Was the reason why they couldn't get over the hump after that. But there are some good people out there. I think who deserve coaching. I mean, shit, if Josh McDaniels can get unlimited tries, why the hell not for D'Amico Ryans? But
I don't know, bro. You're thinking of different shades of the industry here.
Yeah, you're right about that. But maybe he needs to start wearing like these white shirts and put it over his face.
Maybe, I mean, a permanent one, but
but that's the show for this week. We're gonna have another guest host. Will be these guys again. I will be on the way to an undisclosed location, but until then, share, like, subscribe, comment, tell us we're right, tell us we're wrong. We look forward to having y'all again. Come back at you for the conference, AFC, NFC championships. Until then, peace.
Peace.